Hi friends, welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. Happy last day of August! That's the day you will see this. I'm recording this on a Wednesday, a couple days before the 31st, but we have lots to talk about. We've got 4 crochet projects, 2 pairs of knit socks, a little bit of happy mail, a weird random craft that I haven't done since I was a teenager. It's going to be fun. The baby may join us at some point. He is sleeping right now, but he has had a cold for like a week, so he is very cranky, like just sobbing all the time. So I gave him some Motrin and put him to bed, and hopefully he will stay there, but he may come and wreak havoc on this podcast. We will find out. If you are looking for me anywhere in the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram. You can find me as the Cozy Cottage on Ravelry. And if you have anything related to the podcast specifically, please do shoot me an email. My email address is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. Now, before we jump into what I've been working on, I am going to announce that we are starting a new make-along. The last make-along we ran together was the Lisa Frank Mal, and everything had to be inspired by Lisa Frank. The prizes have gone out. The winners have been picked. I believe everyone has received their prize already, and that means it's time for something new, isn't it? So, without further ado, let me introduce you to the Fancy Yarn Mal. Fancy Yarn Mal. It is going to run from September 1st, which is tomorrow for you guys, until the end of November. So November 30th, that gives you 3 months to work on a project. You do not have to complete a project. There will be prizes for like FOs, finished objects, whips, etc. So there's only one rule for this, and it is you have to use a yarn that is fancy to you or special to you. That does not mean that the fiber content of this yarn has to be expensive or that it has to cost a lot of money or be some kind of fancy fiber. There may be any reason for a yarn to be fancy to you. You may have a ball of acrylic in your stash that is really hard to get, or maybe you're overseas and it's red heart that you can't access very easily, or maybe it just has special significance to you. Maybe you picked up some yarn when you were on vacation somewhere. We all have yarn that is sitting in our stashes that is too special to use. And I want to run a make-along to use that yarn. And I'll show you the yarn that I'm going to use and the pattern. So just as an overview, Fancy Yarn Mal. The yarn must be special to you. There is no restrictions on fiber content or expensiveness. It can be literally any yarn in your stash that you have said to yourself, I can't use that. I need to find the perfect pattern for it. Go find a pattern and use it. It's running from September 1st until November 30th. There will be 2 prizes for the Ravelry / Instagram thread. And then, of course, my patrons, I'll have a couple separate prizes for them as well. And any craft is welcome. Crochet, knitting, weaving, spinning, embroidery, felting, all of that. If you can work it in somehow, do it. So the yarn that I am going to be using that is special to me is this. This is a Live with Purpose yarn. It is yarn that was sent to me by my lovely friend Emmy. Hi, Emmy! Quite a while ago. It's called All Hail the Purple One. It is lace weight, 72% kid mohair, 28% silk, 459 yards. I'm going to assume this is 50 grams because this is, this is 50. And I'm going to pair it with this yarn that also has been in my stash for a really long time. It's from the Good Shepherd. It is 80% merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards, sock yarn in the colorway Iris. And so this yarn was a gift and this yarn was a gift separately. These 2 skeins support mental health, and they're from Amy's local yarn store and in their local Minnesota yarn. And they're beautiful. So I have been hoarding these in a special container in my stash for quite a long time. And when this came into my stash, I was like, oh, they have to go together. Like, look at how beautifully that's perfect. So they've just been sitting there waiting for the perfect pattern. And I finally went looking for a perfect pattern because I want to use this yarn. I think that this pattern will probably only use two, like one skein of this and one skein of this, but we'll see. I haven't actually purchased the pattern yet, but I'm going to. This is the pattern that I'm going to purchase. It is called the Cirrus Shawl. It is a pattern by Rosina of Zines and Roger. It's $4.50 Great Britain pound. I don't know what that is in American, probably like $5 or $6. So it is the white parts are lace, and this part is a actual, let me rephrase that. The white parts in the shawl are mohair, and this is like a solid yarn. The pattern calls for a DK weight yarn. I'm going to modify that to use a fingering weight yarn because I think it'll just be a little more wearable for me. So it's just gorgeous, and it's a crescent shaped shawl. It will probably take me ages to crochet, which is why this is a 3-month make along, but I want to use the fancy yarn. This is of course not the only fancy yarn I have in my stash. And again, fancy does not have to mean expensive. It could just be yarn that is special to you for any reason. So I'm going to be doing this. I have 2 of each of these. So if I run out, there should be no problem. And then of course I will be left with the dilemma of, once this is over, I will still need to make something with the rest of the yarn. So one of these skeins is much more purple than the other. So I'll have to pick which one I think will go best. I just think they're both absolutely gorgeous, and I am very excited to get started. I've got to go ahead and get myself my pattern and get some time to wind up this yarn into cakes. I'm just gonna wind up 1 skein of each and then see how far that gets me, just in case it doesn't do anything. So I want you guys to join in because I think we get so precious about yarn and we're like, oh, I'll never have this yarn again. And that's kind of true. Like once that yarn is used, I will not have that specific skein of yarn ever again in my life. But using it will make me happy because it's gonna have all the beautiful memories and it's just so special and it's from my lovely friend and I want to use it. I want that yarn to grow up and become something beautiful like it was meant to be, not just sit in my stash forever. So whatever your skein of yarn is that is special to you for any reason, I want you to pull it out and pick a pattern and then comment below. There will be a Ravelry thread up for this as well. By the time this podcast episode goes live, if you click on the link to Ravelry down below in the description, there will be a thread with everything I just said in there as well. And you can go ahead and post what you want to be working on. But definitely comment down below. Tell me what is the skein of yarn that you have been hoarding that you want to find a pattern for. And if you already know what the pattern is, comment below and let me know that as well. Every time I ask y'all what you're working on or what your projects are that you want to cast on or start if it's crochet, you think that I'm doing that because I'm interested, and I am interested in what you're making, but really I just want to add things to my Ravelry queue so that I can make them in the future. So that is going to be the fancy yarn now. Any questions, just comment below and let me know. But by the time you see this, it has started. So hopefully by the next couple of days, I will have time to wind up my yarn. The next thing I will tell you is, what am I wearing? This is a pattern that I have actually designed myself. It is in 2021. I designed this in 2021. Can you believe that? It does not feel like it has been that long. It's crazy to me. I got attacked by my own Ravelry page because I went to look for a picture of it all spread out, which looks like this. And I realized that it says August 2021 is when I published this pattern. And I just can't believe that. This is a crochet shawl, and it is a 2 skein fingering weight shawl. And it's just a beautiful lace pattern. That's what it looks like. It's perfect for a speckled yarn. And you can actually see, I should have kind of faded these together better. These are the same colorway, but different dye lots. And this one has much less speckling. But I mean, who cares? It's a shawl. This is one of my most worn summer makes because it is so lightweight. It's so airy and it's super soft. So I am wearing this with dry fit t-shirt and exercise shorts because it is August, y'all. It's still August for me in Florida. It is hot. So that's what I'm wearing. You can find the link to this pattern down below as well if you're interested in checking it out. where shall we begin with what I have been working on? I suppose we should begin with a story about my elbow. So last time I told you, if you're new, let me just catch you up. So about 2 months ago, I whacked my elbow really hard on the dryer. Hard enough that I thought I broke it, perhaps. I decided I did not break it after like a day and a half because I had full range of motion. I could move my fingers. There wasn't any numbness. I was like, oh, it'll get better. It did not get better. I finally went to the doctor 6 weeks later, and they did an x-ray, and they're like, oh, you have tennis elbow. So we'll give you a cortisone shot in your elbow, which I've never had one before. And I did not know that when you got a cortisone shot, it hurts real bad. In fact, worse than the elbow pain you had. And then my whole body was itchy for 3 straight days, like to the point that I could not sleep. That's how itchy I was. I did call the doctor, and they were like, well, have you tried taking an allergy pill? I was like, do you mean like the ones I take every day of my whole life? Because I'm allergic to a lot of things. So I already was taking an allergy pill. They were like, oh, we'll take Pepcid too. I did. Didn't really help. And then they were like, well, have you tried Benadryl? I'm like, I cannot be taking Benadryl, y'all, unless I'm sleeping, because it's going to knock me out. And I have small kids. Like, this is not going to work. So I was just literally itchy for 3 days, and it finally went away. It took probably 5 days for the shot to help my elbow, and then it started really helping. We went out of town for a couple days to visit some family, and so I had not been doing like exercises or anything because we were just running around like crazy. I started doing the exercises, and these are like, if you've been to physical therapy for any reason, you probably will understand this, that physical therapy exercises are like the dumbest exercises. And I don't mean dumb as in stupid. I mean dumb as in they're so small and simple that you should be able to do them without any problem, and you can't, which is why, of course, you're in physical therapy. So like one of the exercises is like to put your elbow at a 90-degree angle and like hold a 1 pound weight and go like this and lower it down slowly. This, lower it down slowly, and then do the other thing. Like, so you drop it and you raise it up like this, and then do the same thing like this. I literally cannot do that with a weight. Like, you get a stress ball and you squeeze it 10 times. I can't squeeze it. It hurts too bad. So my elbow had started to feel better, and I started to do the exercises. I just didn't do it with any weight yet. I was just doing like the stretches, and I was doing like the range of motion stuff. Like even this, oh man, that hurts right here so bad. A couple days ago, on one of the many times I was getting the kids in and out of the car seats, I tapped my elbow on the door frame of the car. And when I say tap, I mean like barely. Any other part of my body, I would not even have noticed that I bumped. Like if that was my knee, it wouldn't have even been on my radar. It hurt like someone stabbed me in the elbow. And then since then, it's a little bit calmer today. It's not quite as painful. It has been hurting as bad, if not worse, than before I got the cortisone shot. And I only got the cortisone shot like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago max. So it's not like you can get another one. Not that I want another one because I'll be itchy for 3 days. But like, you can only have a cortisone shot like once every quarter, essentially, like every 3 months. And when I tell you yesterday, I could not do anything with this arm. Like it, so my crochet has been a little bit all over the place because of my elbow. And there have been projects that I've been trying to pick up and put down, and I've been like rotating through trying to baby this elbow and take care of it. Last night I sat down, I tried to work on my crocheted makeup pouch. Couldn't do it. Hurt too bad. I tried to knit on some socks. Couldn't do it. And then I tried to do Tunisian crochet. Couldn't do it. I finally pulled out my Wonder Woman shawl, and I could do that because the yarn is so thin and it didn't require any like pulling effort. Essentially, there was no force involved in crocheting. So I got some done on that. So I don't know, like I just, the exercises are so simple and they're so impossible to do. And I'm going to keep working on them. I promise. I'm not giving up on them. It's the same way I felt when I did pelvic floor physical therapy after Nova was born and after Noah was born. They give you the simplest exercises and they are so hard. Like one of the things, like after Nova was born, I was off balance. Like I could not keep my balance to save my life. Like I would just fall over all the time. One of the exercises was literally stand on one leg and just turn your torso a little bit. Couldn't do it. I couldn't do it for like 2 straight months until finally the muscles like started working together. It's ridiculous. So at the moment, I cannot grip anything without it hurting. Like I can make a fist, but if I squeeze this, I'm gonna get a shooting pain right here. I cannot, the lowering motion is fine, but raising, ooh, just raising my arm like that hurts right here. So, I'm so irritated by the whole process. I'm trying to take care of it. Okay, I'm being good. I'm trying not to crochet and like hurt myself. If it's painful, I stop doing it. But it's just so annoying. So the first project I will show you, these are in no particular order because I worked on these kind of all over the place in the last 2 weeks. I have 2 pairs of socks, and I have a Tunisian crochet shawl. I have my Wonder Woman shawl, and I have my Crochet Memories Blanket, and I have this makeup pouch. I'm going to show you the makeup pouch first and then the socks because they're just what's closest to me. The makeup pouch is coming from the Hooks and Needles subscription box, which I have talked about at length. I made a bag previously, and then right now I'm working on this, which is a makeup bag. And last time I showed you this, I had this panel finished, and I needed to make an exact replica for the other side. So I have worked on this probably 3 times, but because of the problems my elbow has been giving me, I have not gotten as far as I would like, which makes me sad because this is a small project and I could theoretically have it finished. But I have finished the squares and I've started this bottom part. So here, I'll show you. I have just this much to go. And then there's one more panel on the bottom that's going to make the bottom of the bag before you seam it up. So of course none of my ends are woven in, but I made my 5 little squares. The pattern calls for you to do them individually and seam them. I just join them as you go. And then you do a border around the whole thing, and then you pick up on the bottom to do the bottom piece. So eventually it's going to sit, I'll show you like this, because this looks like a weird, like how do you make a makeup pouch out of this? So you're gonna fold it over like so. So it will be like that. So there will be a zipper right here. This will be the top, this will be the side, and this will be the end. Hopefully that made sense. I am using not the yarn that came with this pattern. This is the yarn that came with this pattern. That's what I made the other bag out of, the project bag that had Star Wars lining fabric. The yarn that I am using for this one came out of the Knit Hooks and Needles subscription box, and it is Harvest Moon 100% wool yarn. It is 65 yards for 50 grams. It is a worsted weight, and there was 200 grams. I am on my second 50-gram ball because this is how much I had left of the first one. So I just started it. The first ball got me this entire panel, as well as all of these squares. And then I started using the second ball for the border around this, as well as this. This is a very woolly wool, so I would not put it next to your skin, but it is perfect for this makeup pouch. I had really hoped to have all the pieces done on this so that I could seam it up before next time and show you. I also want to line this bag, but my elbow just has been giving me problems. I'm gonna see, I got through like 1 row on this last night of front post double crochets, so I'm gonna see if maybe I can just do 1 row a night, or if I can prop my elbow somehow so that it doesn't, it's the pulling motion that really bothers my elbow. So hopefully be able to make a little more progress on that because I want to make it. It's so cute. And also I want a finished makeup bag. And I want to line it and I want it to be gorgeous. And I want to start the next one. So if my elbow cooperates, my goal is to actually have that as a finished object, at least the crochet done by the next time I podcast, because I want to start the hat. The yarn from the next crochet box that I showed you last time is going to be a Tunisian Crochet whirligig hat. And I might still have a picture of that pulled up. I didn't bring that yarn over with me. Oh, I do. From the last time I podcasted, this hat. Isn't that amazing? So I had really hoped to finish this one and get this started, but my elbow just has not cooperated. This is a pattern by Abby Made. It is, oh, the baby's crying. Baby's crying already. Maybe he'll go back to sleep. I'm not gonna rush in there. I'm gonna give him a minute to find a pacifier. So yeah, I am having a fabulous time, as always, with my Hooks and Needles subscription box, and I wish that I had more progress on that because I was really excited to finish that and show it to you this time, but my dumb elbow has not been cooperating. That's project number 1. Let's talk socks. Oh, by the way, if you would like to try the Hooks and Needles subscription box, use the code that is down below in my description box and use the link. You will get 20% off. So save y'all some dollars, okay? They also have an amigurumi box that just launched, which looks super cute. I don't ever usually make amigurumi. It kills my arm. But I know some of y'all love them, and I wish I could make amigurumi without it hurting my arm because they're just adorable. So that box, I believe, is included in that coupon code as well. So the socks that I have been working on, I've been working on 2 pairs. I think I only showed you 1 pair last time. Yes, this is the pair I showed you last time. I had just finished the heel, which I love how it turned out. It ended up being a 2-color heel just because of how the stripe pattern worked. So I have done all of this straight knitting about half a foot. Not half a foot, 12 inches, half a foot, half of my foot. This yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners fingering weight yarn. It is sparkly. It was a gift from my friend Amanda, who I believe also made socks out of it. Look, there's a crochet hook in there. I need to put that away before it gets lost. Why is there a giant crochet hook in my bag? I don't know. It is the colorway Vintage Tencel, West Yorkshire Spinners. So she sent me basically her leftovers, which I adore people's leftovers, okay? And I can get a pair of socks, I believe, out of like 50, 55 grams. So in theory, I should be able to get an entire pair of socks out of this yarn. What I'm planning on doing is knitting the entire sock, maybe down to the toe. And then, do I have 2 needles in here? I do. Starting the second sock from the middle, knitting that as far as I can, and then doing both the toes. That way, if I run out of yarn, what I will do is find some other color to stick on the toes so it'll kind of match. But I think I'm gonna have enough to knit an entire pair of socks. I just love how sparkly it is. Makes me happy. So that's sock pair number 1. Sock pair number 2, I did not even show you last time because it was still just a cuff. And it is the second pair of socks I am making out of this beautiful yarn, which was also a gift from my friend Amanda. It is Mitchell's Creations. It is a sock set. The sock set is called Unbothered. Mitchell's Creations makes beautiful yarn. It is 463 yards, 75% merino, 25% nylon per 100 grams. So it comes with this little mini for toes, heels, cuffs, etc. And this is the main yarn. And so I had made an entire pair of shorty socks out of this yarn already for my mom. And I gifted them to her and they fit. And so I have that recipe in my head now of how to make the socks so they fit her foot perfectly. But I have made some progress on this one for me, and it's working up just as beautifully as it was the first time. I seriously stand by the fact that this is one of the most beautiful yarns I have ever worked with. I have never seen another yarn. It's like luminous. It's so pretty. So this is where I was last time, just barely into the cuff. I finished the cuff. I did the leg of my shorty sock. I put in a fish lips kiss heel. And now I am working down the foot. I tried to work on this last night and it killed my elbow, so I had to put it down. But my general recipe for shorty socks at the moment is cast on 64 stitches. This is for my foot. For my mom's foot, I cast on 60. But I did 64 stitches of 2x2 rib, 20 rounds of stockinette. That actually may have ended up being 21. Because, pro tip, I always put in if I'm doing a contrast cuff, I always put in 1 row of plain stockinette before I start the main color, because otherwise you get weird purl bumps. And this just makes it a seamless, like you see that little blue, just blends beautifully in. So I do 20 rounds plus 1 round if it's a contrast. I did my fish lips kiss heel, and now I'm just working down the foot. I do all of that on a 9-inch circular 2.25 millimeter needle. And I know some of y'all are like, tell me your sock recipe so I can replicate it. It may not work for you because you have a different foot than I do. You may not like working on a 9-inch circular. I only like working on 9-inch circulars. When I get to the toe and have to do magic loop, I'm like so irritated about it. I want to go in a circle. That is my favorite part of knitting. I want to go in a circle fast. I just love doing it. So I have made several inches of progress on both of those socks, which I'm really happy about. And what shall we talk about next? That's all the knitting. I have not actually touched my V-neck boxy. I don't know why. I do know why, because it requires thought. I have to keep track of my rows and my increases and things like that, because I'm not in the part where you can just go around. I'm working on the right front shoulder, I believe. So I have to finish that and then do the left front shoulder, and then I can join in the round, and then it will be just plain mindless knitting. So I haven't worked on that at all, and I really need to. I want to. I love it. It makes me happy when I work on it. I just haven't had the brain power. I also need to pull out my Hekla cardigan because it is completely done except for the button band and the modifications I'm going to do. So tune back in. Hopefully that is my goal for September, is to actually figure out what I'm doing with the shoulders on that. It is too wide of a neck for me. And even if I add a button band, it's not going to fix that. So I need to add some short rows here to bring the neckline in so that I can add a better button band. I just have not decided how I'm going to do that. And I need to sit down and have a good think about it. And then I will have something to report to you. So let's move on to Tunisian crochet, because I do have a little bit of progress. Again, not as much as I would like. Let's pause for a pity party because of my elbow. My sad, sad elbow. This is the Westmshaw Shawl by TL Yarn Crafts, who is Tony Lipsy. There is a solid version and there is a color block version. I am making the color block version, all with stash yarn. And last time, I think I had 1 or 2 rows of this lace, yes, of color stripe number 3 done. So I had literally done like 2 rows of this. I have since done all of these rows. I'm not quite done with that section yet. I have 2 more mesh rows in this color before we go back to the main color of purple. And I'm at the point where 1 row takes a very long time now, and it's only going to take longer and longer the faster we go. So this yarn is Maelstrom Fiber Arts. It was a gift from Leslie, who is a viewer of this podcast. It is 75/25 merino nylon, and the colorway is Velvet Boudoir. This yarn was a yarn that I had used for a project in my stash. This yarn was a mini from an advent calendar, and this yarn is a yarn that I designed my Tunisian Zen cowl with. So it's only fitting that it be in a Tunisian project. This 4th yarn is Attic Spindai yarn. Love Attic Spindai yarn. And it was used in another Tunisian design that I made, the Calliope cowl, which I paused for a second to pull up. That's me, but what's even cuter? Look. I took those pictures when I was pregnant with Nova. Oh my gosh. It's just so adorable. That pattern was published in September of 2021, which means that I took the pictures in 2020 before Nova popped out. It's crazy. So it uses the Tunisian full stitch, and it has this cute little button detail on it as well. I need to dig that cowl out and wear it more too. So it's only fitting that this yarn and that 4th yarn be in this pattern, because they were both used in Tunisian designs of my own. So that's how it's coming. It's coming along very slowly, but so what? Embrace slow making. I love the color scheme. It's just cheery and happy and purple and pink and delightful. And it's of course living in a pink bag, as it should be. The next project I have to share with you is my Wonder Woman shawl, and I have actually made quite a bit of progress on this. This is, an acquisition. I have to show you that in a minute. This Wonder Woman shawl, I is probably the project that has gotten the most work. I've just been kind of obsessed with working on it a little bit. And where is the picture? It's a pattern that's been around forever. This is a free pattern by Carissa Browning. That's what it looks like. It's supposed to look like Wonder Woman, the W's. I am, of course, making it in non-Wonder Woman colors, but I have done a fair amount on this shawl. It's going to be a little bit difficult to show you because of how it's shaped. So this shoe is where I was last time, so it looks like I've only done this much, but that's not entirely accurate. So I finished this part of the W, the bottom W. Then you actually come over here. So this is the bottom W. And then I added this blue part. Then I added this next stripe. Then you come over here to this side and you do the same thing. So you add this blue part and then this next part. And then you come over the entire top and add blue. And now I am adding the second W. I literally just joined last night. So last night I did these two blue rows, which take a while because there's like 300 something stitches on it at this point. I literally just joined the color for the second W. So it's kind of impossible. I wonder if I can show it to you upside down better. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I adore the colors. I'm just so happy with this. I'm gonna put it over my head like this. Do you hear that baby? That baby is not sleeping. He slept less than an hour. Oh, he's gonna be so cranky. Give you a close-up before I go get him. And then it looks like we will have a visitor on this podcast. So hold, please. Let me go get my cranky pants child. We're back. What do you have to say for yourself? You only slept for 45 minutes. You're gonna laugh? You think it's so funny? You think it's so funny? Show your snacks. Are you going to let me show the rest of things I need to show and talk about? Or are you going to fuss and whine? As has been your MO. Veggie straw. You want? Okay. I have one more project to show you. Arguably the hardest project to show while holding a baby. And it is the Crochet Memories Blanket. I actually have made 4 squares of progress on this. There's the next yarn that will be added. Let me find. Yes, 1, 2, 4 squares have been added to this. So I added this one, this one, this one, and this one. And I have completely squared off the blanket. He's grabbing it from the inside. So it's not technically a square. What I have more is a rectangle. Don't just go diving off my lap, okay? So I've been working around it in strips. So I did these 4 the last time. This is a corner to corner join as you go crochet blanket. And I'm just delighted by it. It's actually big enough to like be a baby blanket at this point, although it's not a baby blanket. It's definitely gonna be for me. All of the minis in here so far are row 1 yarns, 10-gram minis that came from a lovely viewer of this podcast named Rochelle. And I have been using them in this blanket. I'm not quite sure how many left. This is the next one that's going to get added. And there's some more in there. And so once all of those are added, then I'm going to start going into my stash and finding blankets to add, finding minis to add. I need at least, I think I need about 7 grams. My gauge is like all over the place on this blanket, but about 7 grams, maybe 8 just to be safe, of yarn to put in this blanket. And I have all of my scraps. Are you saying hi? Hi. Hi. I have all of my scraps from this saved. So there's like 3 gram, 2 gram scraps, a couple 4 gram scraps left over from those squares that I'm thinking about putting into an even scrappier project. So that's the last one I've been working on. That pattern is my design, and there's a free tutorial on my YouTube page for it. There's also a pattern on Ravelry that has pictures and stuff, and that cost $1. Oh, honk. You honked my nose. This. Ha ha. Yay for baby Noah. Yay. Okay. What else? I got to go to the Yarn Lounge. Yarn Lounge, it's like the closest thing we get in Florida to a yarn festival. It's so small. It's like 4 vendors. It's put on by Olive and 2U, which is a yarn dyer in the Orlando area. And so they put it on at a brewery, and they were there selling yarn. There was a couple other yarn vendors, and I didn't think I was going to go because we were in Orlando already visiting family. My aunt and uncle from South Carolina, actually my 2 aunts and an uncle from South Carolina came down to Orlando. Also my cousin who lives in Belgium with his wife and their 2 kids. They came and they were in Orlando for a week. My other aunt and uncle from Tampa, my mom and dad were there, and my brother and his wife and their kid were there, and then we were there with our 2 kids. And so like our 2 kids had not even met some of these people. And it had been like 15 years since I've seen my cousin. So we got to go and stay for just 2 days at a place in Orlando that had like a little water park for the kids. And we must have spent so much time, probably 4 hours every day at the water park. It was fabulous. The baby did not sleep very well, which he doesn't when we're traveling. But Nova was so tired from the park, she just passed out on the floor every single night. But he was hard to get to sleep. He didn't stay asleep. And so he ended up sleeping in the bed with me. And y'all, parents who sleep with your kids in the bed with you, I do not know how you do it. He flopped around like a fish all night long. He kicked me. He whacked me in the face. He snored an inch from my head. Like, how do you sleep with kids next to you? I don't understand. This is not a thing that we do usually in our house. Although I will say, because he wasn't feeling very well while we were there either. He just kind of has had a cold for like a week. He woke up Saturday morning, and he had been sleeping next to me all night long. He woke up and stretched and rolled over, and then he realized that I was right next to him, and he just had the hugest smile on his face. He was beaming with happiness, which that kind of made up for him kicking me all night long. Yeah. You kicked me all night long, and you're making a giant mess with your veggie straw. What are you doing? So we got to do that, which was fun. And we ended up, both kids were so cranky that Saturday morning, we just got up and went home instead of trying to stay and go home in the afternoon, which worked out because we got home, I got them all settled. He slept on the way home because that drive was slimy. On the way home from Orlando was his nap time. So we got home, we got unpacked, got settled, did a little laundry, and then I left and went back to Orlando to go to Yarn Lounge, which was at 2 p.m. And so I did that, and I got to see Kalisha of the Quirky Monday Craft Cast, who is my favorite. I got to see Ronnie, who is one of my patrons, but also just a friend, and give her prize for winning a prize in the Lisa Frank Mall in person. And I got to meet Ronnie's knitting group, which was lovely. And then I took my friend Sherry, who lives in St. Pete. She learned how to crochet last year, and last year she went with me to Yarn Lounge, which was so cute. And yeah, it was just a lovely time. I was so tired on Sunday though, let me tell you. But I bought one thing at Yarn Lounge, and one thing only, and that is this. It's a handmade donut stitch marker. And I don't know how well it's showing up. It's just beautiful. Like, it's so pretty. And I thought about it for 3 hours. I saw it because it was like a fair amount of money for one stitch marker, but it's handmade. And it's not like handmade as in they found a charm and stuck it on a clasp. Like, she made the donut. Every single one was different. It's from the Rare Pearl, and they do take custom orders. So if you want a donut, you can have one. They're homemade donut stitch markers. And it is on Instagram. They are the.rare.pearl, and it's the.rare.pearl@gmail.com as well. Oh my goodness. No, don't attack my crochet whips. So I bought just that one donut because I saw it and it would not leave my mind for 3 hours. So right before we left, I went back and I bought this donut, and I stashed it in my bag because I had been working on the Wonder Woman shawl pretty much the entire time I was there. And that's why it was in there. So just a lovely, lovely donut. And since then, I've been having more problems with my elbow since Monday. And it's Wednesday now. So that's life in the big city, I guess. The other thing that I got is kind of happy mail, but I got it in person because I got to see Kalisha. And she handed me this little bag of fabulousness, which I'm going to try to get out without baby Noah stealing everything. Here, you can have this. No, Nova's probably going to steal this first, but it's a llama. It's a Beanie Baby keychain llama. Here, you want to hold it? Oh, you want to eat its face. All right. It's been christened. That's a llama. And she got me a bunch of llama stuff because I like llamas. Like this little thing of sticky notes that says, "You are lamazing." And it's all different llama stitch markers. Not stitch markers, like page notes. And what? I love these. They're so cute. There's also 2 iron-on patches, a sloth and a llama, which makes me think that I need to make a bag for these to be put on. Like, yes, those need to be on something. So, maker plans, I suppose. There's also these little sun catchers. They say clear stamps, but they look kind of like sun catchers to me. Like if I painted them maybe with some watercolor paint and let it dry, that would be super cute. I haven't actually opened them to see, like, are they sticky on the back or what? But they're adorable. I love them. And then this, which is iron-on transfers. Oh yeah, we're definitely making a bag. You know what? I think I have some fabric actually that I could make a little plans. My brain is working. I have some fabric that I could make into a little like notions pouch type bag and then iron all of these llamas on there so that it would be a llama bag because the fabric is just plain. Do you want your llama? You dropped it. Oh no, I can't reach. Here you go. Oh, you're gonna snuggle the llama. And then also put those iron-on patches on. So I just love all of it. Thank you, Kalisha. That was so unnecessary and also so nice of you. And the last thing I have to show you is I guess it's a finished object, even though it's not crochet or yarn related. I found this kit. I was at Five Below looking for a squeezy ball because I'm supposed to be squeezing stuff to like do my exercises, you know? You went down? You don't want down? You want back up? Yep, that's the MO. You just pretending to be happy. You're only happy if you're being held. Why are you so sad? Sad baby. Sad baby. Nobody wants to listen to you whine. No. So I got a squeezy ball that I can't squeeze because it hurts too bad. But I also saw a kit for $1 to make. Did y'all ever make these when you were little? I made tons of these as a kid. The bead melt things where you make a pattern or a design out of beads and then you put parchment paper over it and you iron it. No, you can't have it. Nova is a little too young for this. She doesn't quite have the coordination to do it without knocking it all over. So she handed me the colors and I made the dolphin. And here, you can have a bag. You want a crinkly bag? Yeah? What was I saying? I made the design. This is the design it came with. And I do have some beads left. I could make another one. Nova promptly broke it. So it's already flapping. I think I could remelt this section and get them to stay together. But it's not going to last because she is violent to things. So it's just a little melty dolphin, which is, I had so much fun doing that. I used to love making those. Love making those as a kid. So I guess I did have a finished object after all. So what's coming up? Just the fancy yarn mail. The fancy yarn mal, which is starting on the same day you see this video. I may not have a face left by then. Owie, sir. You don't have to claw my face off. No, I don't want a slimy hand in my eyeball. How about you? Boop, 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 boop. Just relax. Just relax, Mr. Cheeks. I have some fun stuff planned for the next couple of months. There will be our regularly scheduled content, of course. There'll also be a couple bonus episodes of like one of them is going to be Finnish or Frog. And I also have a review of something coming that is not related to crochet or knitting, but is pretty awesome. That's all I'm going to say about it for now. It'll be sometime in September that goes out. So, you know, I guess I have to end here because Mr. Cheeks is being cranky. I can't put him down, but he also doesn't want to sit still. He doesn't want to sit still. So grouchy. It's 10:30 and we have a meeting at 11:30, so we have to leave in like a half an hour. Yes. Whoa, you're so close to my face. What are we gonna do? I don't know. So I guess step on my bladder. You didn't sleep long enough for me to record this podcast and go to the bathroom. Help! Abuse! Help! Oh, I guess I have to call it because this will not end. No, it won't. No, it won't. I hope you enjoyed your baby laughs to make up for the baby wailing that happened earlier. So until I see you again, happy crafting, and I will see you next time. Bye, friends. You say bye? Bye. Bye. Yeah, bye.